Welcome to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Now you probably can't see clearly enough what I've got on this table because I do have a matching black background, but I do have a suitcase in front of me, or a little briefcase. Now this is from DIY Watch Club. Now they reached out to me a couple of weeks ago offering me a DIY watch kit, and yeah, I gotta say I was quite happy to receive that invitation. I gladly took them on the offer, and I actually asked for the full fat version. I got the full kit here, the most expensive thing you can buy. So it's the watch and all the tools. Now, the main reason I did that is because I actually want to see how good these watches are and how good the tool set is. You see a lot of first-time modders, that kind of pick these boxes up and they kind of review them on YouTube as well, which is what the target market is. However, I think you'll definitely benefit from a professional opinion to see how good the tools are, how good the parts are. It's always good to see that because the modding hobby is amazing part of watches. It's logically the next place to go. You'd really get intimate with your watches. It also saves you a lot of money in the long run because you are able to kind of open your own watches, service them, or partially service them, and actually change bits around if you need to. So I've always said I recommend people to start modding watches. So if you're new to the channel, I do have a separate playlist on purely on modifying watches. I've covered the pure basics, going from bezel changes to crystal changes to handset changes. There's a lot of comprehensive stuff out there, and it covers everything you need to know. And I only focus on Seiko NH35s, so for me they're the best movement to work on. Very cheap, very efficient, and economic. Sorry, and then very easy to deal with because you just got so many parts out there. So without waffling on any longer, DIY Watch Club, here's a professional opinion. How good are they really? So the watch I went for, it was a GMT version. Now, one of the movements I haven't worked on is the NH34. So it'll be interesting to work on that. But first and foremost, we're going to look at everything they've given us here, and kind of analyze and scrutinize that just to see if all the tools are good. So here we are, guys. I've emptied out the DIY Watch Club briefcase, and just to cover the cost of this, it's £280, which is around $350, and that's the price of a GMT watch these days. So not only do you get a watch with the movement and everything, but you get all these goodies. So the first thing you are going to need is, of course, the main card, which gives you instructions and gives you more details. Which will take you over to the website, obviously, so you can start building the watch. So in terms of tools, there's a lot here, and they've managed to fit a lot in this little briefcase. So that briefcase is awesome. I mean, it's made well enough. It's got a little spring-loaded button here, and it's a good way to store all these bits and bobs away. When you get into modding, trust me, guys, you need organization. Number one, you need lots of compartments and storage. So this contains all of these great things here. So one of the things they've got in here, they've got one of these blowy puffy things. These are really important. You do actually want to use these to get the dust off dials, hands, and just basically kind of sanitize your whole work area, which is extremely difficult to do. Now this one does have quite a fine nozzle on there, and this is something I did struggle with. The one I have personally it's not expensive, it's very cheap, but it's got kind of a bigger hole in there, so it allows you to get a bit more air out. And the thing with modding as well, it doesn't have to be expensive. There's actually a lot of cheap tools you can get, but obviously, as it is with most things, if you invest some of that money into some more higher end tools, it'll just help you do the job a little bit better, especially if you're considering doing this professionally. So you've got the air blower, you also got a case back remover. Very simple, easy. It's a 2-pin case back remover, and I actually went from those triple pin that look like big wrenches into one of these because those slip a lot, and these can also slip, so you've got to be very, very careful. I mean, it's okay if it's your own watch, but if you're doing it professionally, you scratch the case back, that's it. It's all over, isn't it? So these are okay, but one of the most professional tools I have is a bench case back remover. I found as I did a lot of mods, I needed one of these because it just totally eliminates scratching on the case backs, and it opens very tight case backs as well. So that's something to consider. So you also have one of these. These are one of these cushions where you rest the movement on, allowing you to do your modding and all sorts. Now, I've never bought one of these. I think it's okay just to kind of put your movement on, but it's not that good for actually putting hands on and actually manipulating that movement because the rotor, as it sits on there, it still has the ability to turn, which is going to cause you to slip. So ideally, what you need is one of these. I mean, this is again very cheap. This has been 3D printed by somebody. I bought it on eBay, and it's an NH35 movement holder. It's specific to the NH35. It makes it very, very stable. And you can buy all different ones. You can buy adjustable ones, but you actually need something solid to actually hold your movement. So that's worth considering, but it hasn't been included in this case. So they've also included one of these. Now you will recognize these. It's to obviously resize bracelets, and it's a handy little tool. Again, very cheap, inexpensive. It doesn't take up much space as well. They've also added a loop. Now I've actually never had to use one of these, thankfully, because my eyes are still good. But I'll be keeping hold of this because you don't know, you will need to use it eventually, right? And then that's the second part to the loop to get around your head. You also got some Radical, as we call it in the UK, some blue tack, and this is again awesome for cleaning watch hands, removing smudges, and depending on the texture of the dial, and it's also good for cleaning the dial. They've also included a hand setting tool. Now this is specific to the GMT hand because it's so wide, specific to the GMT hands on the NH34s. You've also got a Bergeron dial protector, so this is a little shield that you place just over the pinion. It can be quite tricky depending on the dial setup. If you've got raised applied hour markers, I find this quite difficult, so I cut mine down to a very small piece. But again, this is actually Bergeron's, a Swiss company that makes watch tools. And then you also got finger cuts, protection for your fingers. I mean, I don't always use them, in all honesty. I rarely use them, but if I've got a highly polished dial or a very glossy dial, and if the watch is expensive I'm working on, then I'm definitely going to wear one of these. So you've got that. They've also included a little phone holder. So this is actually quite essential. So it allows you to put your phone down in front of your on your table as you mod, so you can go through all the videos, and that's really thoughtful. Again, something which they didn't have to do, but it seems to me they have covered everything. Now you've also got a little tray also in the box. You've got cloth also. You've got a case back remover tool. You can remove bezels with this as well. You've also got some tweezers, nice long tweezers. The only thing with these tweezers is I would refrain from using metal tweezers. I've actually got some plastic ones. I can just show you here. I mean, I got them from AliExpress a while ago, and you get like 12-15 in a pack, and these are much safer. They don't damage your hands, they don't damage your dial, and give you same kind of grip. With the metal ones, you will have accidents. They will slip, especially when you're picking up hands. So you really want to avoid anything sharp, metallic going near the hands or the dial. But if you're really careful, yes, it can work. You've also got this wooden stick here, and that is used just basically to hold stuff down on the dial. So it's always good to have one of these. I personally use toothpicks or matchsticks. And then now we've got all these lovely knurled metal pieces. Let's get them out so I can show you what they are. Okay, so you've got a small screwdriver. You definitely need one of these, and these are quite different to your normal micro screwdriver sets because it's not so much about the width, but it's about the flatness. So a lot of these do need to be very fine, and a lot of people do use files to kind of hone them in. But it's good to have such a very nice and really well made screwdriver. You'll also notice that there's a little hole for a screw, which allows you to remove these tips. But that's a really nice screwdriver. Gotta say, made really well. Of course, branded by DIY Watch Club. And then you've got your hand setting tools, fully knurled, again high quality bits. Look at the ends on there. It's a very high end plastic they're using, not the normal white stuff which kind of deforms as you start using it, but this one will be quite solid. So good to see that. And then you've also got hand remover tools, and these are again really high quality, curved towards the bottom. Nice flat ends, and the way you want to remove hands, obviously I've covered it in one of my videos, is put a piece of plastic down in the dial over the hands and then just kind of scoop them up, just turn it and lift them off. So they've covered everything. I don't think they needed to give you all these things, to be honest, but they have. They've covered like all eventualities really, like if you take the hands off, I mean your magnification, and you've also got just a separate screwdriver. Check this out, for the case back, for the rotor. So this will actually allow you to remove the rotor. And going back to what I mentioned about the tip, look how fine that tip is on the screwdriver. And that is going to help you remove that large screw on the rotor, because they do custom rotors. So yeah, I mean, all the tools are good. I mean, this is the level I've got as well. I haven't got anything really better than this. And having all this, I'd definitely say get one of these. And then you could modify more than one watch. You could actually start modifying as a hobby. You could start modifying kind of professionally. I believe you've got everything here that allows you to do so. Brainer. Had I knew about DIY Watch Club back in the day when I started modding, definitely would have bought this little briefcase. So a note on the handset that they give you, again, it's kind of mind-blowing. So they give you 2 of everything. So 2 second hands, 2 minute hands, 2 hour hands. And obviously they've kind of thought into this, that it's going to be a first time user. So if you do end up breaking it, or messing up a hand, you've got another one. So again, they could easily provide single pieces, but they've gone pretty much the extra mile, I think, in every aspect and every element. So here's the DIY Watch Club. This is the Expedition. It's a 13.9mm Explorer style case with a thickness of 12.4 and a lug to lug of 45.5. Sapphire crystal slightly protruding past that fixed bezel. Fully brushed matte case. Well, matte coated, not brushed. Signed crown. Exhibition case back with some specifications on the back. A very nice FKM curved end rubber strap. Overall very good build. The watch is great, can't fault it at all. I like that yellow accented GMT hand. So very surprising from DIY Watch Club. I mean, everything has been really well thought out. The instructions are very, very clear and precise. I can't stress how well those instructions are. It tells you everything, tells you what not to do, what to watch out for. And for me, the first time building an S34, definitely a great lesson learned. So I can now go on and start building some GMT watches possibly. You just got to be really particular about the alignment and the switch off the date. So first and foremost, I'd suggest you pull the crown to position 1, get your clicks aligned for the GMT, make sure you're at a click and not in between a click, and then set your date just at the 12 or past 12 o'clock so you can make sure everything lines up and changes over at the right time. So final verdict, I've said it guys, it's in front of your eyes. The proof is definitely in the pudding. I'll say this is definitely at intermediate level, above beginner with everything that you get. And guys, get building. And as I said, check out my modding videos as well if you want a bit more insight into just a normal NH35. I mean, the principles don't change. Crystal, movement, hands, etc. It'll all be the same. So that's it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed that lengthy video, lengthy review, but it was very necessary for this DIY Watch Club. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.